Hi guys, I hope everyone's staying well and safe. Today I am going to start you on page 3 and I'm really hoping that most of you can do this at home. We are going to do this page, which is the half-tone one, where you'll do 2 washes, and you'll find it on the end of your worksheet. So if you have a look at the one that's Design Drawing for Still Life, it's the one at the last, it's after this page here, so it's that one. Yay! So we are going to do 2 of these objects, so you can pick 2 of these to draw. Now I've done one really big because I wanted it so you could see what I'm doing. You'll want to put 2 on a page like this and be able to do your wash from there. So I have done some examples of what that looks like, but I first want to probably address the whole what do you use issue. So when we were at school we would use dye, and we would water that down and away you would go. Obviously you won't have dye at home, so here's a couple of options that you can have. You can use, if you have paint at home, like I do, so I have paint. So I'm going to do mine with paint. Okay, so if you're not arty like me, in that sense, you don't have paints at home, you can use food colouring. Yeah, just not yellow. Yellow is probably the one that you can't use. So a lot of people have blue or black or red or green. Any of those, go for it. It's exactly like dye. It's really strong at the start, so it's in a blob, like really strong, and then once you keep watering it down, away you go. So you can get it nice and thin, like I'm going to show you as well. Finally, if you obviously need a paintbrush. But if you don't have a paintbrush, there are a couple of other things, household things that you can use. So hopefully there'll be a solution for you there. So a couple of things that you can use are these lovely things here. Your earbuds. They are great, cotton buds. They're great for using as paintbrushes. You can use for little details, like if you need tiny little details, you can use a toothpick or a skewer. So that's always handy. And if worse comes to worse, you can cut parts of a sponge up and soak it in and paint with sponge parts. So hopefully you've got one of those things with you if you sadly don't have a paintbrush handy. Okay, so please use those household items. So sponge, skewer, cotton buds, cotton tips, if you like to call them. They will do just as well for you, okay? And my cat's come to visit. Isaac. I'm cooking him. I will put him away. Hi everyone. Alright, here we go. That you get, mister. That's right. Okay, so I am going to use my paint, and just the same as if you're using food colouring, you just have to water it down a lot. Okay, you want to start really light and then build up to the darker areas as you go. So you want to just start with a really light colour. What's really good is that you can do a little test on here. Oh, that's very light, okay, as you can see. I'm going to make it a little bit darker so you can actually see what I'm doing, because that would be mean if I didn't. Okay, so I look at my sheet. So you probably have this on the screen of your computer, which is absolutely fine. And I'm going to block in, I'm going to start blocking in those areas. And you can see that I've done my basic shapes and my interior and exterior lines. So my inside and outside lines. Now, you can do this on the first drawing that you do, but please try to just do the basic shape first on the next one. And then try not to do the interior lines, try to just paint them in. Because it looks so much more skilled if you don't have all these pencil marks, obviously. So do try your second one without those inside marks to guide you, and just look at that picture as best you can and see where those lighted areas are. So I'm going to start filling this in. As you can see, just be really confident with it. That's probably the one thing I can say about using a dye or a watered down paint or coffee. You can use coffee actually. Lots of people have used that before, so you can water down coffee because it's quite strong as well. And just really get in there. Also smells pretty interesting. It smells pretty nice when you have coffee. And start filling that in. Just starting to fill in those spaces. And just every time, if you want to just test on that paper to see how strong it is, you probably want to go really light at first, and then when you're happier with those areas, I go, actually, that's a really nice area, I like the way it looks, you can actually start to go and make them darker. The one biggest mistake people make when they're doing a wash, which is essentially a watercolour, is they forget about the white. So white is just the page. So you need to make sure that you are smart enough to leave those areas of white alone. Or else what happens is it looks like a big coloured mess, and you don't want it. You want to actually have what we call contrast. If you remember what contrast is the difference between light and dark, and or contrasting colours, which are like red and green are two contrasting colours. Anything that has a really dramatic difference in something. So obviously black and white's a good example, but you just want to make sure that you've got white, because white obviously has as much impact as any dark colours on a picture. So I'm colouring that in. I just thought I'd fast forward a little bit, and you can start to see what I've been doing, which is making up a little bit more of the different tones that are in the picture. So now that I've got my kind of base colours of what I want, I can actually put some darker areas in, and so that's what I'm kind of starting to do now, building up those really dark areas so that it's starting to look and shape up really nicely as a artwork. Remember if you're using coffee or anything like that, or if you're using food colouring, you can do the same by just how much you water your paint or whatever that you're using down. So the more you water it down, the lighter colour it's going to go, and obviously test again to make sure that you've got that working for you. So just building up those areas that you think need it, and basically away you go. You can start to fill in that part, all those parts that need it. And remember that you have to do 2 of them. Just a reminder again, try to do the second one without the drawing lines. Just have a go at doing it freehand, and it just means that you really have to make sure that you're focused on the page and that you get those things right. And it's really good to have that light colouring that we did first before you do the really strong colour over the top. So hopefully that helps with the watercolour effect that you're going for on what we call the halftone breakdown, the blue wash work. And once again, you don't have to do blue. If you have only red food colouring, use that. I've got a finished piece, as you can see. Someone's finished piece, it's not mine, it's one of the ones that I have in the folder, so that you can kind of see what it looks like in the end. So a very nice work, obviously, with different colours, and leaving white. Brilliant. Okay, good luck out there, and I hope your page goes well, and I look forward to seeing all of your amazing paintings. Okay, thank you. See ya.